Hello everyone, welcome back. It's Empyrion Galactic Survival episode 31. I'm Enigmas and today we're back on Omicron. We're looking at our base. This isn't going to be a 20-minute episode. The last few have been 20 minutes, which seems to work for some reason. But in this case, I don't think we have that much content to go through because what I've been focused on is taking a lot of time and doesn't take a long time to look at. We are basically getting ready to do all the things that we want to do on Omicron. There's a long list. But first thing we'll do, again, we'll take a look at our base. You can see I'm in my drone, and we're in the drone for a reason. When we first started playing the game, we would do walking tours of our base because they were small enough that we could take a look at what was going on just by walking around. And then they got a little bit larger, like you see now. It's much easier to use the drone to take a look at what's going on, and up until most recently, that's been good enough. We can get to higher elevations and see things from a better perspective. Now we have to actually use our little scout ship to show you what's going on around here, which fortunately we have right here, ready and waiting, and we have to turn on our jetpack to get in. There we go, and we will change the view. Turn on the gas and take a look at what's going on here. So that's basically our base from this flat gun here all the way back as of the last episode. And then since then we've added all of this, which is quite a lot. Actually, there's a lot of floor space that we've added. This whole section up here that you see is all going to be the growing area where we can plant the crops of our dreams. We can grow whatever we need in a relatively sheltered area. It'll have all the grow lights inside. We don't need natural light for growing. Even if we were planting them outside, we'd need grow lights. And tons and tons of space is kind of the thing. And then over here, oh, I still have some housekeeping to do down there, I see. This platform here was built specifically to extend the roof of the growing area. So now if you can imagine this whole flat section from here all the way down, widening here on a large kind of circular sort of thing all the way back, this is where we're going to be building our next capital ship. I wanted something that was close to our base so that we have easy access to building materials if we have to produce them on the fly, and also something that we could land flat. If you look at the Spectre Alpha over here, it's not landed flat. Its landing gears aren't even on the ground. We've got some that are kind of look almost as if they're in the water, but they're above ground. You can kind of see we're bouncing off everything here, but you can kind of see it's really difficult to find a flat place to land. So we've set ourselves up, hopefully, so that we'll have a slightly more stable platform upon which to build our next capital ship. So that's what we'll be doing. Now, this exterior isn't complete. It's mostly complete, and the interior still needs some work. But for all practical intents and purposes, it's turning out not bad. Not bad at all. So that brings us to our next step, which will be to take a look inside and kind of see what's going on, hopefully. The nice thing about this game so far, and I say nice in the sense that I don't expect it to stay that way and won't be unhappy if it changes, is that you can't crash. I actually had this little ship in particular. Something went wrong. It was nighttime. I was flying around the base, and I wound up going sideways and then upside down into the water, and I actually had to add these thrusters onto the ship specifically so that I could get right side up and leave the water and land it back up here. And I left the thrusters there to remind me to tell you guys the story. I didn't think to record it, and frankly, all you could really see for most of it was the weeds on the bottom of the lake. But yeah, it didn't do any damage to the ship, but it was still upside down at the bottom of the lake. It's not the best place to be. So I haven't really put a lot of thought into all the best possible places to put elevators, but this is one of them. We're just going to switch on over to the light because it's a little bit easier. One of the things I want to be aware of is how many lights I'm using, because apparently too many lights can cause the kinds of performance issues that I'm having in the Spectre Alpha, which currently, if you go into the main control floor or deck, I guess you could say, on the ship, where the control seat is and where all the machines and stuff are, it lags out so bad. The frame rate goes all to hell. We've got production machines. These are the ones, I'm pretty sure these were in the last episode. I've added the food processing stations so that we have plenty of stations to make food and sub-foods and ingredients and all that other stuff. I've expanded the bunker within the base so that we have more room to put the things, because I want to protect the things like the ammo boxes. These are very important to protect. The fuel tank is very important to protect. The generator itself, as mentioned in the last episode, is actually under the floor in the water, so if somebody wants to destroy that, they're going to have kind of a rough time. And then we've got fridges to store our food. I added some more oxygen tanks so we don't have to worry about filling those so much. Just kind of improving things from the original state that they were built in. Now this area here it was going to be like a staircase, and I decided I didn't really want to make it a staircase because it's just too big. So I used these blocks here, which are one of the subsets of the walking platforms that you can make. Because I wasn't sure if you'd be able to walk on these guys here. Sometimes you can't if the angle of the base or if the ship or whatever is slightly off. You can't walk on these guys, but these may be a little easier. In hindsight, I don't think it was necessary, but I kind of like the look of them. So we've got those guys, and then this is the lower level of the growing area. You can see the windows from the other side. I haven't put any lights in here yet because we're going to have the growing lights in here, and they kind of duplicate one another if we were to have both. And again, trying to keep things down in terms of the resource requirements. We've got our columns. I like the columns because they're easy on the eyes, but at the same time, it's kind of difficult to kind of build the big wide open fields indoors that I was kind of hoping to have. So I'm not the world's biggest fan of the columns, but it could be a lot worse. And then there'll be windows, so you can look outside, contemplate whatever. I have to get rid of the blocks between those two columns. These columns were a pain in the butt to put in place because they're so long, and they're necessary to hold up this platform so that it doesn't cave in because of the structural integrity. But just getting them in place with all the things down at the bottom of the lake that were blocking them from connecting to the ground, it took a while. This is probably where I spent most of my time, was just getting these guys in place so that I could build that platform. But they're mostly done now, and I'm glad. So that's the thing that we've done to the underside. And now we're going to run all the way over here. And we're going to keep going up to the second growing area. This is a little bit lower. The ceiling is obviously not as high. We're going to be putting the decorative sort of crown molding around each of these columns, and then we're just going to leave it. And the grow lights are going to attach directly to the ceiling, and then there will be the growing plots, and everything will be absolutely fantastic. I don't even know if we'll ever come close to having this entire thing full of plants, but I do know that it was important to just get it done. And again, there'll be more windows. These ones will actually offer the better view because you'll be able to walk right up to the glass. You can see the cylinders down there. We've used a big chunk of the lake for our real estate for this base, and I kind of like that. But we've still got enough of a lake that we could pretend like we're on vacation if we had to. There'd be like diving boards off the platform here and probably be very dangerous, but they could be there. I mean, our spacesuit is pretty well armored. Obviously, this place could benefit from some extra elevators, but I think I'm going to wait and see when I get the growing plots in there. And then up here, of course, is the upper level where we will be building our capital ship. And once we actually get down here to this level and we start running, sprinting as it were, we get a real sense of the actual scope of it when we're in normal kind of viewing mode as a character instead of as a drone or as a ship. It's quite large. And that was, there was a part of me that said it's going to be too big to actually build it. We might as well just resign ourselves to the idea of building it on the ground. And then I realized that we've got so much concrete. There's no real reason why we can't build a great big flat platform that we can land the thing on after we've built it, and just call it the landing deck for capital ships out of our base. So that's basically what I've been doing since the last episode, except I did take our little ship out and do a bit of scouting. The thought never even occurred to me to record any of the scouting because I was more concerned about focusing on making sure that I wasn't getting hit by enemy fire or drones or missing things or whatever. But I can show you some of the things that we found, all kinds of different deposits. And I also noticed for the first time that it's actually got a list here that tells you how many deposits there are and how many you've found. So I was actually looking for iron deposits. That was my goal. I was flying around hoping that I would find a nearby iron deposit because we were out of iron. And it's fairly important for a lot of the things that we do. But as you can see, it wasn't exactly forthcoming with the iron. And then we come across something like that, the Xenu spaceport with a magnesium deposit right beside, cobalt and iron right next to an unknown artifact, a drone base, a Xenu spaceport, and I think there was another base of some kind over here. So I mean, a very densely populated area, and there's an iron deposit there. Where else did we, there was, I mean, we found all four now. Cobalt, copper, and of course not all of this space that you see that we're scrolling around the planet is actually usable. The iron deposit, yeah, this is the one that I was working on. I got about a quarter of it, and then I forgot to bring enough fuel for my drill, so I had to leave. But we got enough to get us started on all the different things we want to do, and there's this guy here, and then once that's depleted, there's that guy there, provided this guy here, the Xenu Armory, doesn't decide to take pot shots at me when I'm trying to reach the surface. And then cobalt I'm not worried about. We've got tons and tons of cobalt. I also found out, reminded by a viewer, that it's not Erestrium that we need in order to make hardened steel plates. It's Sathium, and we have over a dozen stacks of Sathium that we need alongside iron, and I think one other material in a smaller quantity in order to make the hardened steel plates so that we can make our new capital ship. So, upcoming, we're going to finish off some of the details in our base here, because this is probably going to be our hub base, like I mentioned when we first came down, talking about all the different vegetables that grow here and things that we'll need. This I can see as being the base that we use whenever we need a real central base. So we're going to do some final details, start getting other things inside the base set up, but we're also going to be taking a look at what we need to get started on our new capital ship. We're going to scavenge some things from this ship, and then I kind of feel like I want to save the bases around here as testing grounds for our new capital ship, to test some of the things that I want to put on it and the different locations that I want to put them in. And then that'll be kind of our focus for the next few episodes, is building stuff and tweaking stuff and getting ready to take this entire planet for our own. And then we'll move on to the next planet. So if you want to be notified when we add future videos, the easiest way to do that is to subscribe to my channel or follow me on social media. Links for social media always in the information section below the video. Feel free to leave your comments and feedback. Thanks for watching, guys, and take care.